Two superpowers, two leaders, one battlefield, the world. On one side, Donald Trump, the businessman turned president, a man who sees the world as a chessboard and plays to win. On the other, Xi Jinping, China's most powerful leader since Mao, the architect of Beijing's global rise. Their fight? It's not just about trade or military power or technology. It's about the future of global dominance. And the battle has already begun. For decades, the US and China were economic partners. Washington opened its markets. American corporations rushed into China, drawn by cheap labor and massive consumer potential. Factories boomed. Profits soared. China became the world's factory. Then, something changed. China stopped playing by the rules. They didn't just compete, they took shortcuts. They stole US technology, hacking corporations, infiltrating research institutions, and reverse engineering American innovation. They built a surveillance state, expanding censorship, tracking their own citizens, and exporting authoritarian technology abroad. They expanded their military far beyond their borders. The South China Sea became a fortress. Taiwan faced constant threats. The Belt and Road Initiative turned into a tool of strategic dominance. By the time Trump took office in 2017, the US was no longer dealing with a business partner. It was dealing with a global challenger, a rival aiming to reshape the world order. And Trump, he didn't hold back. Trump's plan was simple: hit China where it hurts. First, the trade war, tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars of Chinese goods. Factories in China shut down, supply chains scrambled, foreign investments dried up. Beijing was forced to intervene, devaluing the yuan, pumping money into its economy. But it didn't stop there. Then, the tech war. Trump banned Huawei, cutting it off from American technology, crippling China's 5G ambitions. He blocked semiconductor exports, starving Beijing of the advanced chips needed for AI, military, and surveillance technology. And finally, the military showdown. More US warships in the South China Sea. More weapons and intelligence support to Taiwan. More defense partnerships with Japan, South Korea, and Australia, forming an anti-China coalition. Trump made it clear China's rise wouldn't go unchallenged. But Xi Jinping, he had his own plan. Xi knew one thing: he couldn't beat the US head-on, so he fought back in the shadows. First, economic infiltration. China poured billions into Africa, Asia, and Latin America, locking nations into debt. They offered massive infrastructure projects, ports, highways, energy plants, all under Chinese control. And once these countries were financially dependent, Beijing pulled the strings. Then, military expansion. China built artificial islands in the South China Sea, turning them into military bases. They modernized their forces, developing hypersonic missiles, stealth drones, and space warfare capabilities. And finally, political warfare. Beijing worked to divide America from its allies, using money, propaganda, and influence. They infiltrated Western universities, funded think tanks, bought stakes in Hollywood studios, and just when this battle was reaching its peak, something unexpected happened. The virus started in Wuhan. China covered it up, silenced whistleblowers, blocked investigations. By the time the world realized the truth, it was too late. The global economy collapsed, trade halted, markets crashed. Trump blamed Beijing, called it the China virus. Tensions exploded. Relations between the US and China hit their lowest point in decades. And for the first time, the world saw China as a threat. Factories relocated, investors pulled out, Western nations cut trade ties. Xi Jinping had to adapt, fast. China responded by doubling down on self-reliance, boosting domestic tech production, reshaping supply chains, and expanding its influence in non-Western markets. But there was one battlefield where China still had the edge: technology. The next phase of this war? It's not about trade, it's about control of the future. Artificial intelligence, quantum computing, space warfare. Whoever wins this race will dominate the world. China is investing billions into AI, building a surveillance empire. They're racing to develop quantum supremacy, where encryption is unbreakable and hacking becomes unstoppable. And in space, they're launching satellites, testing anti-satellite weapons, and pushing for lunar dominance. The US is countering, blocking China's access to advanced chips, boosting its own AI sector, and forming new alliances. And military tensions are reaching the breaking point. The South China Sea, Taiwan, cyber warfare. One miscalculation, and this Cold War could turn hot. Trump is eyeing a comeback in 2024, and if he wins, his strategy will be brutal. More economic pressure, a stronger military presence in the Pacific, a full-scale push to isolate China. He'll tighten alliances with India, Japan, and Australia. He'll increase military support to Taiwan, potentially crossing red lines Beijing won't tolerate. Xi Jinping knows this. That's why Beijing is quietly preparing, strengthening alliances, boosting its economy, and even considering backing Russia more openly. The question is, who will strike first? This battle? It's far from over. Scenario 1. Trump returns and ramps up the fight. A new Cold War turns into an economic and military showdown. Scenario 2. China pulls ahead, building alliances, controlling global trade, and outmaneuvering the US. Scenario 3. A total global shift. New alliances form, the world rebalances, and a new superpower emerges. But here's the truth. The fight between Trump and Xi, it's about more than just them. It's about the fate of the world order. And in this game of power, there can only be one winner. So what do you think? Is Trump the only leader who can stop China's rise? Or is Xi playing a game the US can't win? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this battle is just getting started.